It's Born and Red. It's Friday night, and the usual front three turns into a flat back four, or is it a fluid diamond in midfield? But wherever it is, but we're looking forward to a brilliant show tonight as we look forward to one of the biggest fixtures in the Premier League calendar, if not the biggest in terms of history and heritage between the two clubs. We've got a special guest today, Avi. I know you're big on introductions and you love giving people the big welcome. The floor is yours.
Oh, you gotta stop snoozing it. He doesn't need a big introduction.
Yeah.
Grizz Khan, the one and only. No, it's great to great for Grizz to join us. Instead of the front three, I'd rather call it the Cop Four today. The Cop Four.
Oh yeah, that works.
It's got a nice little ring to it. You know, we could be fighting for top four this season if that doesn't go our way. So here we go.
Straight away, 39.
Always a pleasure to have Bai on the show, and I know we're doing Cooling Khan tomorrow, so it's all good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I literally said.
What are you blushing for? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
you act as if you've never done this before.
Pressure's got to him, Avi, man. Pressure's got to him already.
No, the reason why I was saying is like I've literally said, stop the introductions. Let's just go straight into it. Rolle. Got so much to get through. But you know what I mean? He turned into front three, you call it, front three to a bloody Cop Four. Like, what? Dirty name. Never give
Wait, my mom's watching today now for the first
please,
time.
I don't know that.
So please.
Okay, look, we'll listen to Grizz. Let's get straight into the show. We want to touch on the Palace game. 2 games, 2 points. Where is it going wrong, boys? Who wants to start?
Go on, Asim, I'll start. Where do you want me to start? Bloody hell. Look, to be fair, I think the last game, I think we all know where we went wrong. Darwin Nunez, that's the name. That's where it all went wrong. I know we conceded that goal, but that's where it really started, the downfall in the actual game. But look, you have to look at, issues deeper than that. If you have to look at our club as a whole, especially with the midfield issues, we know we're light in that area. So, is that an issue that we have to look at? I know we've spoke about it before. We've gone into it quite a bit as well in the last couple of shows as well. But it's been... Oh, bloody hell. Somebody's saying that bloody hell, China's had Mr. Mike got a bazooka. This is all right, the size of it. I thought he couldn't hear me then. Bloody hell, Brad, man. Avi, I can't hear you.
Gina, put it to the side a little bit, please.
Yeah, okay. Is that better, boys? Yeah?
And bend it a little bit now.
Now we can see the real bazooka.
Man.
No, honestly, look, as long as you can hear me, look, get right, Brad, man. Look, on a serious note, look, I think in terms of the last game, hey, Avi, man, you stop laughing now, man.
It's right of all people, yes.
Look, on a serious note, yeah, look, I think we all know where it went wrong. Darwin Nunez, I thought we started off really well, first 20, then they came into it for the last 10, 15 minutes. But all in all, I thought we did really, really well. But the Nunez red card was the big issue of the game. And from there, that's where it all went wrong. Kieran's come out and said there was only 2 things wrong with the Palace game. Nunez red card and the result. Highest XG over the first 2 games. Look, Kieran, I think the last game, fair play, I can accept that. I completely agree. I think, we all know where the issue lied. Game against Fulham was a different kettle of fish. There was so many bad performances in that game. So all in all, but that was a bad game. But look, 2-2, we just got to kickstart our season in the next game.
Grizz, the performance was less worrying for me compared to the Fulham game, where obviously it's been sort of well, highlighted in the media, especially when our manager came up. So I don't want to say question. Did he really question the attitude? And I know he came back. Maybe sort of his less fluent English got him into trouble with the media headlines. But for me, the sort of performance was less worrying compared to Fulham. 15-20 minutes, we saw a response in terms of energy, in terms of pressing them. We created moments where straight away James Milner should have scored. And for me, it could have been a different game altogether. But it still highlighted a few problems where the main one for me is, although Palace did have a lot of the ball, we looked prone to the counter-attack. Was that apparent for you?
Yeah, look, it was going to be apparent as soon as we saw Nat Phillips in the back line, and Milner and Elliott in the defensive midfield line. In the midfield line, it was going to be apparent. We know that regardless of who we pick in defense, we play the same way. He doesn't change the high line. He doesn't change the way we press in midfield. He expects whoever steps in to have the same ethics and ways of playing that the rest of the squad play. And sometimes that is a criticism of Klopp. Sometimes he maybe should adjust, especially when you're playing probably one of the best counter-attacking teams in the Premier League. Like literally, that's what they do. They're the specialists at counter-attack with Eze and Zaha and Ayew to a lesser extent. But these guys are deadly on the counter-attack, and you guys are at the game 30 minutes. You didn't see them, hear them, nothing. They get that one chance, deadly bang. And as soon as you see Zaha drifting towards Phillips every single time, there's a matter of time before they get one right. Like how many times they were trying to attempt that, they're going to get that one right. And yeah, look, but I'm with you, man. In terms of performance, we really can't really criticize them too much in the second game. The first game, obviously, we've discussed it to death, but the second game, I know we got 1 point at the end of the day, and that's all that counts at the end of the day. But the performance was more positive in terms of the effort, and especially when we're down to 10 men.
Avi, was sort of the lack of midfield creativity, because there's a graphic came out. I don't know who tweeted during the week. Do you think, when I was watching it, I thought Liverpool was going too long, and the tendency is to go long too many times when you've got a focal point up front in Nunez, especially the first half. When you're facing a flat back five, they were really deep at times, when even Nathan Clyne was really tucked in and sort of tracking, Diaz. And even we saw a new sort of dynamic where we saw Robbo making those underlapping runs, going into midfield positions, inverted positions. But do you think we were a bit too predictable? Because yes, we've got Nunez. He can, he's a body, he's a presence, and he's a nuisance as well, and a menace at times, as we've seen over, in Community Shield and when he came on. But do you think we were too predictable, especially from that Trent side?
Yeah, I think what it is, we're trying to accommodate Darwin Nunez. We're trying too hard to get him fitted into the system, where we should just try to play our natural game as much as possible. Trent was floating those balls in, crossing them balls and looking for Darwin Nunez, and they looked comfortable with Guhi and Anderson. They looked, and even Joel Ward to an extent, they looked comfortable with the crosses, and he can play on the deck. And that's one thing I think we're afraid of, that why are we lifting it, or why are we trying to get it on his head? Like he can play with his feet, he can get in behind. We didn't do enough of that. I thought Elliott looked sharp, and he was the only one who was trying to create and trying to thread those through balls. But at the moment, I think it's that transition of, yes, we've got a focal point now, but we can still play our old way. This game similarly reminded me of the Madrid game, where we had possession, but we just couldn't carve really like clear-cut chances in the first sort of 55 up until the Nunez sending off. And then we came alive, we started showing some passion, some fight, some quality on the ball. But yeah, at the moment, it is seemingly a problem with the team, where we're just trying to fit him in as fast as possible, but when we should just let him play his natural game, and we should just adapt to our old system, but have Darwin Nunez as, yes, if we want, we can go that option B, playing it to his head. If not, there's other ways, similar to Mane, get in behind, like the goals that we've seen Mane score when he was number 9. Darwin Nunez can finish. And, he was unlucky. He had a chance which he snatched at. Yeah. Should have scored. That's a gimme, with the money that we've paid for him, that should have been a goal, the first chance in the first half. And then he gets that one where he sort of scuffs it, where it comes off, I think, Jeffrey Schlupp and hits the post. But look, credit to Palace. They came with a game plan. They nearly executed it with with the chance and the goal. Yeah. And that's what Patrick Vieira came for. And, they'll walk away with a draw, and they'll be happy too, after the start that they had against Arsenal.
Gene, let's go to the goal then, where, like Grizz said, we sort of peppered their goal. We just couldn't. So we lacked a bit of composure, whether it was James Milner or Darwin Nunez, who I thought was way too sort of hyped up for his home debut in front of the rapturous Anfield crowd. But when it comes to the goal, I think it's Fabinho. And if you want to discuss Fabinho's form for the last 5 to 6 months, or even just a bit more than that, let's have that discussion. But for the goal, in the meantime, when we're getting counter pressed, and look, I'm not Fabinho, and I'm not a monster when it comes to winning the ball back. But when you see the game live or even on TV, sometimes you just want him to slow the speed of the attack down. And counter pressing is not just it doesn't mean you have to win the ball every single time. If you slow down the attack, you win the ball in a different phase because you've got more men back and you've given the time for them to run back. So what do you think he was too eager? And maybe is a lack of fatigue, a lack of form, that in the big moments when he needs to win that ball or make the right decision, he's not making the right one at the moment.
Look, Fabinho, I think, Asim, everybody is sort of like, we all know in terms of his form, back end of last season, he wasn't the best. And let's face the music, that's the simple truth. At the start of this season, he hasn't been great. He's been he's been an amazing player for us over the last few years that, we started winning everything when he came. But there's no running away from this. There is a form issue here. I mean, he's not, he's not the only one, but there is a form issue with him. And yeah, in terms of the goal, look, I know Nat Phillips was,
and that's okay. Sorry, Chin, just to interject, that's okay. We've had past midfielders, even the great Steven Gerrard under Julian Benitez, where when you're off form, you can take a breather. And the issue is here. We haven't got replacements. I mean, we could put Henderson there, but we've got so many injuries in midfield that we can't even replace him. So there is an issue with fatigue. He does look as if he's blowing out of his ass from minute one. And that happens with that happens after the season, that the 4 or 5 seasons he's playing. And you got to remember, he played a season at centre back as well, and he picks up his injuries. We do need to be careful with him, because you don't want him to completely just blow out where he just can't recapture that form. And Fabinho's always been a slow starter as well in the season. He always takes about a good 3-4 weeks just to get that adjustment. I mean, when he first joined, it took him till October, because he had a League Cup game against Chelsea where he just looked a little bit out of his depth. But Klopp was like, "Look, that's a process. I'm gonna nurture him, and he's gonna be what we expected from his time at Monaco." And he was. I think it's just a time thing with him, and he does need a rest. I don't think those 2 months away from football after the season was enough.
But Avi, the thing is, look, the truth is, once I can ask him, the thing is, I know he's been a great servant to us, and he has been brilliant, but end of the day, there's no room for error in this league. And to be fair, can we accept 2 months of being a month and a half or 2 months of somebody being off form in such a vital position in the midfield for us? Truth is, we can't. That's why personally, I'd like to see Hendo in that, given that Hendo's an humble replacement in that role. He's brilliant at that role. So I'd if he is given the time to come off for a couple of games and Hendo can play in that 6, I'm happy with that, because we can't have any passengers right now. We're already 4 behind. We can't see, we can't accept any more losses or any more draws, especially for the foreseeable future. And, as you mentioned in regards to the goal, look, yeah, he was really easy bypassed. Eze did him a couple of times in that game. I thought Eze bypassed our midfield very easily a few times.
He was class. Eze, on the whole, he was class.
And even the way of pass that he played to Zaha, I know Phillips was side on us him, but, would that pass would have got there if we had a different centre-back? Maybe not, I don't know. But end of the day, that pass was brilliant. Eze was brilliant, and the finish was phenomenal.
I just want to come back to that comment Hassan just put up. Big up Hassan, a regular, a guy in the chats. Fabinho has been run into the ground for me. There comes a time in the cycle where you need a counterpart to challenge you or rotate to keep the tools fresh. He just seems fatigued all round. Grizz, there is this, but do you think it's partly down to the fact that we've sort of evolved our midfield now, where he should get a bit more protection with the likes of Henderson and in particular Gini Wijnaldum in recycling the ball, going to side and winning the ball back? Well, now since we're sort of creating that triangle between, sort of that role, but even Henderson when he comes and plays in that sort of inverted space, Fabinho has to do probably a lot more running, and he's sort of, exposed more. So yes, he's been running to the ground. He needs protection. He needs, to be sort of kept fresh. But is it mainly due to the sort of adjustment in how we play as well?
I'm sure there's elements of that, but I just don't think his form as an individual has been up to his standard and his level. You can look at the structure of the midfield and the way we play and the triangles that we try to create on either side, left and right. But sometimes when you see a pass under hit, or when you see him just the pace of his pass, not crisp. You know that crisp pass they used to do. Even, obviously comparing him to Thiago is very difficult. But look at the pace and weight of Elliot's passes. Even from the very start, Fabinho's passes were making me pull out my chest hair. Obviously not head hair. You know what I mean? But what remaining chest I got from what Saj left from the last game we were at, it had me pulling out my chest because he was winding. I don't know how it looked at the match. Did you notice his weight of passes and everything?
Yeah.
It was lethargic.
But
so
why this has been an issue since last season too?
But this is my point. It's not that's not a structural problem. That's just a person who, yes, possibly has been running to the ground, but he's had a fair break as well. Asim, he's been out for the injury. He struggled near the end. I don't think he was 100% fit for the final. I said it at the time. I think that was huge call. I get he had to make it, but Thiago and Fabinho, in my opinion, was 70-75% fit only. That's massive when you're playing against possibly one of the greatest midfielders of all time, in Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos on the other side, and Valverde as well. So, look, it could be a structural problem that needs to be resolved or looked at. I'd say it's more a case of personal form. I think, as Avi says, even last season, me and Avi spoke so many times, and I said he's getting a free pass. All the scrutiny, all the criticism is going towards Henderson, but Fabinho's not playing great. But then he puts in a performance against, who was it? City in the Sheffield. What's it called? Charity Shield.
No, in the cup semi-final.
Cup semi-final.
Naby and Thiago.
Yeah, cup semi-final Charity Shield. You think to yourself, yeah, that's the Fabinho we need back. But I personally thought against Fulham and against Palace, just my opinion, I thought he was the worst player on the pitch.
Yeah. No, look, I think it's a bit of an accumulation of everything, whether it's his form, whether it's adjustment in the way we play. But moving on, it's the Nunez sending off. There's a fine line between playing on the edge, where we like this South Americanness in you. We like that. We like that bite. And, they're sort of using the dark arts of football. But it's like I said, there's a fine line between using those dark arts, and being silly and naive. And he just got done by Anderson. And it wasn't just on that occasion, Avi. It was on the numerous occasions. I can remember telling the guy who I was sat next to, saying, look, he needs to be careful. And it was his first match at Anfield, under the lights. The atmosphere was brilliant. That Nunez chant was going off, and he missed a few chances where he maybe lacked up a bit of composure, where he was trying a bit too hard. I forgive that. But you can't forgive for being done by an experienced guy who just played you and you just fell for it.
Asim, I think it's, and me and Gene touched upon it on Monday night, because I got his voice note at like 2 a.m. and he was like absolutely devastated. With Nunez, I think it was a combination of things. I think even before the game, the hype, just the Haaland versus Nunez, the Suarez comparisons, because he's a Uruguayan. It's the price tag as well. He's been at Anfield, scored. It's just subconsciously sometimes that pressure just builds up. Obviously, his first game, he wants to impress. He scored in the Community Shield. He would have been reeling, I think, by being on the bench against Fulham. Came on, scored, had a great impact, and then gets his start against Crystal Palace. And Anderson, he took the bait. Nunez took the bait. And I'm not too pissed off or angry at him on the lad. Look, he's 22, and I think that will keep him in good stead. It came very early in his Liverpool career. It's done with, and he would have learned a lot. I think Jurgen would have had a word, obviously would have had a word in his ear and say, look, this is how we play. I don't even remember the last time a Liverpool player was sent. Robbo against Spurs last season. Last season at their ground. But it's very uncommon for a Liverpool player to be sent off under Klopp's tenure for the last 6 years. And I think Nunez will be better for it. I think he'll be much better for it. He will know now. A bit like Thiago. You remember when Thiago joined that first season, where he was picking up yellow cards, the niggling injuries. He couldn't get away with things he would get away with in Spain or Germany. And referees were just booking him for dissent as well, the silliness. And then the second season, last season, he had curbed that. He didn't get the number of yellow cards that he did the first season. I think it's a thing of just transitioning from a certain league to the English league and knowing that our refs, they're an absolute shit show. But that was a red card. I just wish that he had actually broken his nose, to be honest.
Look, as we know, is that one of the lads. I read a tweet of somebody, and he said, "Look, you can you can't teach aggression, but you can curb aggression." That tweet stuck with me because I thought, you know what, you guys know I'm that type of person who actually loves that in a sort of play. I love the aggression, and I want to see it. Don't get me wrong, I was absolutely livid with Nunez when it actually happened. But look, he is young. We have to give him the time that he deserves, and he will learn from this because it was a massive lesson to him. And he knows he let down the football club as a whole. So, he's 23. We give, it happened, it's done. As long as he's learned from this and we move on from it, that's the most important thing.
But he misses Newcastle, United, and Bournemouth now, Grizz. Is that a big miss? I know Bobby has come back into training this week, but and I know we're going to touch on the sort of nuances of how he comes into our attack. We're going to sort of touch on Haaland later as how these focal points are going to be, sort of coming into our team and the Manchester City model and Liverpool model, if you like. But he's a guy who we can bring in, especially when we're chasing the game. And I believe his touch needs to get better. He needs to get better at popping off the sort of first-time ball. His touch needs to get better. Let's make that clear. And it will get better over time. He's only 23. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And his development will, go on, and especially under tenureship of, Linders and Klopp and all the rest of the team. But he's going to miss 3 games. And in a season where we haven't started well, is going to be a massive miss, no?
Massive miss. He's going to miss the games that ideally we bought him for. Like when you look at the 5'8" centre back at Man United, and then you look at Newcastle and Bournemouth at home, where we know how they're going to play against us. He was bought as the plan B. I mean, I genuinely said it quite openly that I don't think he would have started the season anyway. I know Avi was very excited about Darwin Nunez. I knew he was not going to be starting centre forward. I knew it's going to be Jota. And he's the loss for me. He's the big loss for me. I've been sat there sad and tearful of just thinking what a loss Jota is, what a loss. And who would have thought that last season, or, that Jota is going to be our biggest loss out of Mane and possibly Salah going, rumours, and then Diaz just settling in. But the one person that we missed the most, in my opinion, is Diogo Jota.
He's slightly better technically than Nunez, Grizz.
Jota, slightly, but I told you he's not technically great at the start of the season.
You need to get the popcorn out. Get the popcorn
No,
out.
can we enjoy ourselves?
I'm signing up, lads. You should go.
Diogo Jota's and I tell you what, and I said about Nunez that he's like a 6'4" version of Diogo Jota. He's not, and I told Avi, I said he's not going to look pretty. Oh, Grizz, I said he's not going to look pretty, but he's going to be effective. And what they saw in him, they know how they're going to implement him into the team. And they were definitely not planning on bringing him into the team straight away. And you can see why now. Even the little glimpses that we've seen of him, you can see why it's going to take a long time for him to develop into the way that we play. For me, Jota's the massive miss. Honest to God, it's hurting us, man. Don't make me sad again about Jota, man.
Grizz, hold on. Ask him 1 minute because I want to come at him now. Grizz's goal against Fulham. Nunez's goal against Fulham. Yeah, the goal, the back heel. Was that not aesthetically? Didn't that not look a perfect technique?
Yeah. What does that?
He did, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that he doesn't look.
Well, the one that hit the goal, the one that hit the
both the save and the goal.
Yeah, but
he got it right though, didn't he?
Of course, but I've just said he's going to score goals and he's going to be effective. But Asim just alluded to the fact that his layoffs, his hold-up play is not clean. What you term clean number 9 forward play. And even Klopp has alluded to that. There's many elements of his game that needs to be improved. And his hold-up play, his link-up play, 100%. His movement is
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
His movement is brilliant.
Yeah.
His movement is brilliant.
Yeah.
Last season, home and away, when we played him in the
Is that it?
League.
You said you're going to come at me. Is that it?
No. Sabr karo, bhai. Sabr karo. Have a little sip of the tea. Have a little sip.
You're come at me. Like,
You're the boss. Just like your mug says, you're the boss. No, but like Darwin Nunez, home and away, right? Darwin Nunez home and away, he looked technically brilliant last season against us. His finishes proved that too last season. The first one at their ground, all right, Konate makes that mistake, but he still finishes it. And the second one, he could have had a hat trick that night at Anfield. I think he got 2 goals disallowed, but technically he looks fine. Yes, the touch and the first the layoffs and stuff that will come in time. He's 22, guys. He's 22 years old. We can't just.
You can't. Sorry to interject. You can't compare. You can't compare our 2 games against Benfica and compare that against Palace. It's completely different. Why? Because we are taking the game to Benfica. We're on the front foot. So everything to Darwin Nunez is perfect because he's quick, he's strong, and the way we defend, we have 2-on-2 situations.
But, we were talking with him with the ball when he had the ball. When he had service. He was brilliant. Go watch those first
I'm not.
Look,
Nunez. Nunez against him.
It was generally in transition. Where my sort of gripe at the moment is, and it's very early, and we've got a very small sample size, Javi. Where it's when he's faced with the bus, does he have? And it's probably unfair to compare him to Bobby. Bobby's one of the best players that we've seen in coming and asking for the ball and connecting play. But for me, he needs to improve. And at the moment, that's why there's a pattern where his best games at the moment is when we are sort of chasing the game. We're like Fulham and Man City are always going to come at you.
Can I just say one thing before you guys want to move on? If you want to move on, I think Avi's sort of ignited his passion and fume, because he thinks we've written him off or we think he coming.
No.
Look at the way Diogo, Jota, and we all to a man. So many games. In fact, we were at so many games as well where we were frustrated with his all-round game.
Remember Arsenal?
Was the best example is Arsenal.
Game. Exactly, we were having a goal all game. Bang.
But look at Diogo Jota. It took him a season to work into the system. He was played on the left. Yeah, then he was playing the right. And because we got this perception of our number 9 is because it's been Bobby Firmino all our lives, automatically we compare everything to Bobby Firmino. Just like a lot of people are comparing Diaz to Mane. Mane's output was sensational. Diaz won't reach the output. If he does, we've struck gold. We've struck gold again. He won't be. He's a total different type of player. He won't. But
output in terms of goals and assists.
Yeah, goals and assists. He won't touch Mane.
I think he will.
Chalo, ho gaya done. That's it. Dinner's on you. Come to think, but Sadio Mane.
What was that, Grizz? What was the bet?
Sadio Mane is out. Oh, it won't be matched.
Goals and assists.
Not a pass.
From the left though. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Look, I'll be honest with you, Avi. I genuinely believe in terms of Diaz. Now you've mentioned Diaz. I'm a bit with Avi on this. I genuinely believe he can get the numbers. Maybe in terms of in terms of his play, in terms of his press, in terms of all of that. Mane was a colossal. He was a warrior. I'm not saying Diaz is not a warrior, but Mane just brings it extra to the game in terms of technical skill as well. Mane is different. Mane could go down the line. Diaz needs to show me a lot more of that. But in terms of goals, I think that goal against the last game, hopefully, because he's so far he's the nearly man. That's what he is. He's our nearly man who's never really done it. Something always goes wrong. But now is his time. He's got that goal. He has to really, really kick on to. And to be fair, the guy has to produce numbers this season. There's no. That's my point.
That's my point.
There's no getting away from this.
That's my point. That he the pressure is on him automatically because in everyone's mind and brain, he's Sadio Mane's replacement. Just like Nunez is Bobby's replacement. It's unfair on those guys. So eventually it will come. I'm not saying it won't come, but to replace guys like Bobby.
Oh no, but there were loads of people on social media, Grizz, saying, if Mane was playing against Palace, he would have scored, and Nunez.
You're gonna get that.
For Mane.
It's
more Mane now. It's
obviously you've drawn 2 games. It's going to be all about Mane. So that's the standard. You're going to get that. That's part and parcel.
I think what we need to start doing is, and we've seen sort of some bits of it where we just need to get closer to the big man. That's what we need to do, and we need to run in behind him as well and off him. But that's enough of Nunez, guys. Let's move on. I think I want to touch on the performance of Gomez when he came on, who I thought was brilliant, won everything, that speed, recovery. And it's probably a partnership that we're going to see now. And even I don't know if Matip is going to be fit for the game, but I just want to see that partnership again, especially the way, where Trent is and, he goes forward. He gets a lot of stick. But where sort of Nat Phillips couldn't recover, Trent going forward, Gomez definitely can, and especially against 10 men, Javi.
Look, I've said it before. I still believe that partnership, that title-winning partnership, is the best. I admire Kanate. I think he's a great player. Matip too, But I think Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, I think they just have that understanding. And I know that's a surprising thing to say because we've seen Matip and Van Dijk, but for me, it's Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. And for the first time in a long time, we saw the sort of that 90% Joe Gomez of the 2019-2020 season, where he just looked assured. He had that swag about him. He knew that, he's got the pace here. He looked as if, you know what? I trust my knees here. I trust my legs. I can, stick it. I can stick the pace with the Zaha or Eze breaking through, or even Olise when he came on. Joe Gomez, and his passing as well. He was feeding through the lines. His passing was underrated against Palace. And I said it yesterday as well. I thought Joe Gomez and obviously Luis Diaz, who was an absolute warrior, like you mentioned about Mane's team. I thought Diaz and Gomez were the two players that could hold their head really, they could hold their head
and
up high.
Elliot
too. But if Gomez is fit and Matip's fit for Monday's game, he's got to go with Gomez and Van Dijk. And I think he alluded to it today in the press conference. I watched it before the show. That he was very impressed with Gomez, and he looks as if he's back. I think with him, with his knee.
Avi, 1 second. He's had this. He's how many times? Look, it's easier for those boys to sit here. We've been criticizing Naby for his injuries. We've been criticizing Thiago for his injuries, and now it's Gomez's turn. We're not licking his ass.
But your ball.
No, Gene.
It's the truth, Avi, bro.
Gene, you can't compare Naby's injuries and Thiago's to Gomez's. Gomez has had leg breaks. He's had leg breaks.
He was injured.
Leg breaks, but that's not on him. Those are self-inflicted injuries. The knee breaks, the leg breaks, and the cruciate ligament injuries. Gene,
his injuries are always 6 months. That's a big issue to us, man.
Here, Gino.
Right, look, my issue is listen. I have no problem with Gomez as a footballer. I think he's a fantastic footballer, even though I'm a Kanate fan, and I would prefer Kanate as a centre back with the.
Kanate had injury issues at Leipzig.
He did, but he's been perfectly
and he's
fine.
Injured again. He's injured again. Gomez was fit last season, but Kanate was ahead of the pecking order because he was the fitter and fresher man. Because Gomez was still in his rehab. Gomez was still in rehab last season.
Okay.
And then when he was coming on, he was playing at right back. And you know what? He did a stellar job instead of Trent on the right. He did a good job on the right.
How many? Okay, he's been up. He's been there since Brendan Rodgers days. Yeah. How many big injuries has this guy had?
Yes,
at least 3.
Okay, and why do we persevere with him? Why do we persevere? Because he's still 24. It's easy. He's still 24 years old. Gene,
I'm not saying about his thingy, but it's easy that we have got so many other.
I think you're confusing 2 points here. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Avi's saying that those injuries are not niggly muscle type injuries. Let me finish. I know what you want to say in return. Avi's saying he can't do nothing about those injuries. Those are impacts. Someone else has broken his leg or whatever. You crashed into him, track tackle, whatever. The impact injuries, he can't do nothing about them. As opposed to Naby's got little flu injury, pulled a muscle, pulled a hamstring. I think what Jin's saying, I don't care about how he's done them. The fact is he's not available enough for him to be always given a chance. We need to make a decisive decision on him. Like, I think he's suggesting, it's not good enough to have him playing 20% of the games a season. I think there's 2 different points here.
He was available last season. What's the argument?
Avi,
Gene, hold on. Gene, what's the argument? He was fit last season. He just couldn't break through the Matip.
Prior to that, how many injuries?
Sure,
prior to that, it's easy.
But
he just come back from a bin injury.
But Gene, what you can say in return to that is, because of those injuries, Avi, he wasn't at his optimum when he played. I think we all went mad in the groups because his performance was so poor, and we were suggesting it's because of the injuries. It's not the same Joe Gomez.
And the simple truth is, whenever he did play, Avi,
hence last season he was brought in and he was covering Trent on the right, and he did an able job. At times he impressed me on the right. At centre back in the cup games, he didn't look sharp, but he's had a preseason. He's had another preseason. His knee injuries are not common injuries, Gene. We've stuck with Naby for 5-6 years. We've stuck with Thiago. If Thiago was fit for the 8 games that we dropped points in last season in the league, your guy Thiago, your Chacha,
and we all give him shit. We all give him shit. No, we all give him shit.
And now again, he's not fit. But Gomez is. Gomez was fit last season.
When it's got more injury or a big injury, the fact that he's out and not available.
But he's been available. But since he's come back from it, he's been available for the last 13 months, Bobby. He's back. He's been back.
But he got injured at Villa. Away to Villa, he got injured last season.
No, it's
Gomez.
Fabinho who pulled up.
Gomez.
I don't even remember if Gomez got injured.
Gomez got injured. He got injured against.
Matip.
Huh?
Oh yeah,
I think it was
forget.
Matip or Fabinho.
You don't need to go that far. Asim, you don't need to go that far back. Last game he missed because of a niggling
No,
injury.
Phillips started ahead of him, and it wasn't tactical.
You're talking. Thank you.
So who's your centre pairing for Monday?
Tactical,
I'm not saying. My issue isn't with Gomez.
You're talking as if let's get rid of
You're
him.
making it out like he's our number one. This is that. I get that.
For me,
But he's never available.
He's definitely not our number one now.
I totally
chance.
understand that. No,
Yeah.
Van Dijk's our number one. Come on.
No partnership. It's definitely not our number one partnership.
For me at the moment, when everyone's fit, and I might start another debate here. When everyone's fit,
Go on.
who do you pick? Because I think
Say it. Say your one
I
first.
think-
No, you know who I am. You know.
I think
Wait. Say it. Go on.
Konate is the perfect blend. You've got Matip in terms of reading the game is better
no
than Gomez.
argument.
But Gomez has got the recovery speed. But Konate has arguably got both.
I don't think he's got.
I think you three have forgotten how special Joe Gomez was in that title-winning season.
No,
I
we
honestly
haven't.
believe that.
Nobody's
I
denying
honestly
that
believe
argument.
that.
No,
Honestly believe that.
denying
We
that.
haven't said that. No, I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying right now, Konate is absolutely number one.
But he's not available. He's not available right now.
Oh yeah, of course we know that, but we're
He's
saying
not
if
got a big
everyone's
injury
fit.
like Gomez.
No, we're saying if everyone's fit.
If everyone's fit.
I'd like to see when Konate is back. I know there's news that 4 or 5 weeks. I'm very
Look.
interested when
To be
Konate
fair,
is back.
Avi, to back you up, look, Gomez is back. If he gives us 6 weeks and we're amazing at centre back.
Then Gene, I'll put my hands up and say, yeah, you know what? Another injury like an ACL or even a niggling injury, I would say, yeah, look, we've got to make a decision on him. Because there's teams like Villa who have taken interest in him. Yeah, if tomorrow we got an offer for
signing a new contract, obviously he's going to stay.
No,
whatever,
but
that's one thing.
previous though. There's interest from Villa, obviously Gerrard, who needs a centre back because he's got Mings, right? But at the moment, if he's fit, you're going to play him now because Konate is injured, Matip is coming back, and look, we're concentrating on Monday's game, right? United. I truly believe it won't be Nat Phillips or Reece
Of
Williams
course,
or
no,
anyone
we know
else.
that.
It
That's
will
not
be
the
Gomez
debate.
and Van Dijk, and then let's see from there on. If he stays fit, I think we're solid again at the back with
That's
both
not
of
the
them.
debate. That's not the debate. I think when everyone's fit, that's the debate. Who's our number
Yeah,
one?
that's the debate. That was when you said everyone's fit, you would have Gomez
In their
over
form,
Konate.
in the top form,
Right-
it's
right now.
Gomez and Van Dijk. Yeah.
No, there's a difference. You said in their pump. In their pump, Gomez, yes.
There you go. But that's what I'm talking about.
But he's
That's
not in
what
his
I'm talking
pump.
about.
And I don't
not
think
in
he'll
his
reach
pump.
that pump.
No, but for the first time in a long time at centre back, we saw the signs at the Palace game. We saw the signs.
Oh, early, yard. Early. 20 minutes.
No, look, I have to
Okay.
give look before
He did more than
Gomez
what
were close.
Phillips did.
Oh,
He was
Great
I have
perimeter.
to- on Gomez. I have to
I
say
think he was better than Van Dijk on Monday.
Fair enough. I'd agree
he was
with that. as well.
fantastic. I have to say he was absolutely fantastic when he came on. I got to give
Yeah,
you that.
nobody's denying that.
Look up
But
at how you've been fighting with me for the last 10 minutes. Now all of a sudden he said, "Yeah, he was brilliant. He was brilliant." No, he was.
No,
fantastic,
but
yeah.
I'm a Konate fan, Avi. I really love Konate. I think I genuinely believe he's got the potential to be a Van Dijk. That's why I love him.
Because I prefer,
yeah, look, let's
because
leave
I
it there, guys. We've spent about 40 minutes, but before that, there's 62 people watching here. Please, before we move on to the United game, smash a like, drop a comment, and please show all the brothers support for the brothers. Grizz, if admin can put his channel on there, Blue Chip. Mubarak on the setting off the ground, the Blue Chip TV.
I'm going to be releasing another video, some tech stuff today again, some emojis and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so Blue Chip is off the ground as well, off and running. So please give all the brothers a like and appreciate all the support. We're moving on to the big game at Old Trafford. Like I said, 2 games, 2 points. It's an absolute must win. At the moment, we've got Ten Hag and that recruitment team playing, sort of football manager where they're trying to sign anyone and everyone. It looks like they're getting Casemiro over the line. He won't be available for Monday night, will he?
No.
No? Okay. So, we can leave that as everyone in the comments will start saying, yeah, Casemiro is going to start bossing your midfield as he did in the Champions League final. But maybe we can, return the favour at Anfield. Grizz, it's a big game on Monday. How do you see them sort of lining up? Because
It's a must
at the moment, I feel like Ten Hag has come in with a big reputation. He has a style of play and ideology. And he wants to implement that philosophy onto the team. And we saw some PR videos from Man United TV over the summer. But he's had a big reality check in the first two games. I know we've started badly, but it's all right when we can all laugh at Man United. And they've got battered in both games, especially they got bullied against Brentford. And there's talk of even Maguire getting dropped, the 5'9" centre back playing as a DM role on Monday evening. And what does he do now? Does he stick with his philosophy? And so, because those are the situations where you learn, don't you? Because I know they lost to Brentford and Brighton, but these are the games where you learn about your team. And if you want to implement your style on a team, that's when you say, you know what, boys, we're not compromising anything. We need to play the way I want to play. But is it just a question of he just doesn't have the players available to him? Where, for example, Guardiola had the luxury to coming in and he didn't even give Joe Hart a chance. And he just sold him and got rid of him straight away and bought. And I know the 18 million keeper didn't work out and he replaced him again with Edison. But in David De Gea, he doesn't have a keeper that plays the ball out. He has another sort of pillar in the team in Ronaldo who doesn't like to press. So is it is it just a case of he doesn't have the players available to him? And does he compromise and just play on the counter on Monday evening?
It's a lovely situation looking from the outside, but for him, it's a fucking horrible situation. He's been sold down the river, man, with the recruitment, with the director of football, with the owners. There's no way he would have wanted 1 week before the window closes, about 10 days or something like that, whatever, and having Malacia and what's his name, Lisandro Martinez. As the two players. You're right.
And Ericsson too, Grizz.
Ericsson, the free transfer, is an opportunist signing as opposed to planning for the future or long-term planning. He's available on the free, so they got him in, and it makes sense because a technical player. But again, even that one doesn't make sense. Him and Bruno in the same team are struggling to play in the same midfield.
Deep lying midfielder against Brentford.
Mad. I hope he plays that against us. Obviously, he won't. But this, I agree with you. It's a catch-22 situation with him. Any coach worth his salt, in my opinion, reacts to the squad he's got, looks at the capabilities of his squad, the skill, the tools at his disposal, and plays games according to them until he can get his players in. This brother's going in and playing his style with all the old Man United players, which is asking for disaster, in my opinion. And so it's proving to be. Now, obviously, we don't want to speak too early how he's going to set up against us because, the guy might totally rip up that game plan and philosophy and make it a one-off game against us, which you never know. Managers have done that against us in the past where they think, okay, this means too much to the fan bases and worldwide audience. Let me just forget my total football philosophy and change it up. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to try to play the same way, obviously with a few adjustments he has to. He can't be playing that midfield against us. It'll be interesting to see. I think he's in a very, very tricky situation, guys. Inshallah, first we get our win out the way. And inshallah, once we do, I genuinely don't see their next win in their next 3-4 fixtures, lads. And that's not bantering or taking the piss out of United. Obviously we don't want to look that far. Let's get our 3 points first. I don't see them picking up a win out there 3-4 games after that. And who's to say he don't walk off?
Okay, Gene, how do you see United lining up? Like I said, there's even talk of Maguire dropping, sort of getting dropped and playing Varane. And who's the other centre back if he plays Lisandro Martinez in midfield?
Lindelof not back from injury.
Lindelof. This is the Varane. This is the thing with these guys. Right now, especially with their last two games and the way they've played, it's all up in the air. We don't know what's going on. There's, like you said, there's so much noise coming out of United at this minute in time that this person might even not be playing. This person might not be playing. There's issues with the Ronaldo. There's issues with them. McFred. Let's say we don't know who's going to play where. We had, like you said, Ericsson playing in his 60th other week. So what is he actually going to play? I genuinely don't know. And honestly, don't be. I think one of the, I don't know who mentioned it. Will he sit back? I genuinely believe he doesn't have a choice. If he lines up in a 4-2-3-1 against us guys in this next game, he's getting it. In a 4-2-3-1 where he says that he plays Bruno and a number 9 and 2 wingers with a 2 in midfield with a 4 at the back, I'd be very surprised to see him play that. I can't see him going with that formation. He's just gonna get taken apart and he's gonna go safe. I know people say it's Erik ten Hag's system and he wants to play a certain way, he wants to stamp his authority on the sort of game. You're playing against Liverpool, man. There's sometimes you have to when you know you're the inferior.
But I don't think this team has the intelligence to sit back. I don't think they do. I don't think right now structurally the way this team is set up, they don't know what they're doing. Right? Gary Neville can come out and say the board. Fucking, you can't keep blaming the board. They've got players there that can play. Sancho hasn't lost his ability overnight. Rashford hasn't lost his ability overnight. Bruno Fernandes has stopped for being
Rashford has.
But a coach like Erik ten Hag is the right coach because what he's done with the youth at Ajax to come into the club and say, look, guys, I'm here to give you guys confidence. I'm here for you guys to play. They've not become bad players overnight. You can't start saying or blame the Glazers for their debacle, the shit show that they're showing on the pitch. Jamie Redknapp was right when he called out Gary Neville.
Am I allowed
Those
to
11.
Sure. Sorry.
If it's a killer, yeah. If it's a killer.
Can you tell Ash it's a knock?
Right? You can't. Jamie Redknapp was correct, and I don't think Jamie Redknapp's a great pundit, but he was right about Gary Neville. The 11 pictures that are representing your club at Brentford that day, they were absolutely shocking. Their body language is shocking. And whether that's at the top, but a manager is supposed to instill a little bit of confidence in the players when he first takes over. But it's just like everything's falling on deaf ears. It literally is falling on deaf ears. Ronaldo's body language. Cristiano Ronaldo, right? And these where Erik ten Hag might have had that ego and thought, no, you know what? I'll come to that club and I'll handle it. A bit like when Brendan Rodgers took over Liverpool. He had that Carragher, Gerrard sort of personalities who were, Mr. diehard Liverpool players, right? I think Erik ten Hag has criminally just played himself into a death trap with this Ronaldo situation. He doesn't want to stay there. The player
Avi, you're dealing with one of the greatest players of all time.
But he's not going to fit your system, Asim. He won't fit his system.
Nobody. But there was reports, to be fair, where he wanted him to be a focal point up front, even though he doesn't like to press, and he doesn't press. We all know that. But if he's got the sort of supply behind him, then it could work short term. But the fact that he doesn't.
They've had short-term fixes before, though, Asim, in the appointments. Ollie was supposed to be a short-term before he got a 3-year deal.
But Avi, he can't. There's no question about these guys have a lack of education, lack of coaching. So it's going to take time. And let's be honest, he's had a massive reality check that this is not the Dutch league where you can win 4-5-0 every week. This is where the main. We all know it's a genuine top 6. Even though. United are doing absolute shite at the moment, but it's a genuine top 6. And but the real thing the main thing that he learned that this league is even when you play the likes of Brentford and Brighton, you got a proper game.
This ain't
these teams can hurt you. So it's going to take a bit of time. And is he learning on the job at the moment? Yes, he is. He's had 2 games, but the fact that Gene, do you really think he's going to sit back? Because it might give him a short-term sort of gain, but it might harm him in the long term.
They can. Okay, you talk about confidence. If this guy goes and plays the way he plays, let's say the systems or whatever that they played against in the last 2 games against Liverpool, and they get absolutely torn apart, that and Old Trafford.
He can't risk that. He can't have that.
He can't risk it. Old Trafford is going to be a burning flame, especially with what's going on with the fans right now, with the Glazers. There's going to be a walkout, all of that. Whatever that the United have planned for this game, yeah, it's going to be pandemonium. And I just think he's just going to play safe. Okay, maybe not safe in that sense of, he's going to sit back. But you know what? He's going to try and contain us. You can't go out against Liverpool with that side and try to attack. Let's say he plays that. He's going to play a centre. Okay, let's see. Maguire doesn't start. Varane starts with Lindelof, that new 5'11" centre back, where he plays midfield. The guy's never played one game in the midfield for Man United in that position. He's going to go and play that position in a big game against Liverpool. He's going to throw him into that. And he's already been got battered in the last 2 games. Yeah,
he's hardly played that for Ajax as well.
This is the thing. There's so many questions.
Coloni prefers him in a midfield role though for Argentina.
Yeah, he does.
when you park the bus, so to speak, you need players who are willing to roll up their sleeves and play for that
But
badge.
they've got a couple of those dogs.
Who
They've
are
got a
they?
couple of those.
Ironically,
The McTominay Fred.
he won't get to he won't play. He won't play.
Brilliant.
Look, Ericsson is not that
I'm
player.
calling him dogs.
Bruno
No, I
is
said
not
calling
that
him
player.
dogs.
Dogs of war, man. That's what they're known as,
Look,
isn't it? Back in the day.
Bruno's not that player. Ericsson is not that player, especially in that deep role.
McFred, you know, McFred.
Oh yeah,
Are they gonna
good
do
job,
that?
Grizz, man. McFred, man. Fucking hell.
I don't
No,
know.
They're gonna do that, innit? That's what they're gonna do. Them, no,
I
but
know,
yeah, my point is they've got no other option.
they haven't.
That's what we're saying. Who in that
Yeah, maybe.
squad? Who else in that squad can do that job?
Elanga.
Bruno, Ericsson can't. Van de Beek is rumored to be playing this
Jesus
Monday.
Christ.
Van de Beek's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be that. Van de Beek's going to be playing in the Ericsson role apparently this Monday. Taksana.
Okay, as long as De Gea is whacking it long and Van Dijk is always with the winning the ball and we go again, that's what we want to see.
Can we actually predict their lineup? I think this would be fun. Let's predict it quickly. Right,
The Herring goal.
The Herring goal. Go on.
Dalot,
Right
Dalot
back.
on the right. Dalot on
No,
the right.
right. Shaw left back.
Yeah, I think he'll. No, I think yeah, Shaw left back. I think he'll go with. Maguire and
Varane.
Martinez. No, I think
It's
he'll
not
go
going to be
Martinez.
Shaw. It's going to be Malacia.
Malacia.
Maybe
left back.
Griezmann.
Malacia left back.
Paka, 100%.
Okay, Malacia.
Okay.
I'll go with Malacia left back then. Right, McFred starting, yeah.
Malacia,
But
you
100%.
think he's going to trust Malacia against Salah?
Malacia
Shaw's
is
got a good
bad.
record against Salah. Well, apart from last season, but
Malacia starting. Lichlo.
Okay.
midfield three
Right,
would be
is it McFred?
McTominay,
Van de
yeah.
Beek?
Who did you say centre backs?
I said Maguire and Varane. No, Maguire and Martinez. I think Maguire and Martinez will start.
Yeah, I think because of no Nunez, Martinez gets a lifeline.
And Varane is still coming.
That's a fair
yeah.
point. All right, TK.
Okay,
Varane.
we'll do Man United lineup. Let's get Hassan's.
Well, we haven't
comment.
finished yet. We're just on the centre backs yet.
Yeah.
We've got to the
Right,
midfield.
midfield.
McFred.
McFred, name your three. It's not to move.
McFred, Bruno or Ericsson? Galkaro.
He's going to
Bruno
go
has
with
to
Bruno. He's going to go
start,
with Bruno. He's going to
I
go
think
with
Bruno will start. I think
So then he's
Bruno
going to drop
Ericsson was
Ericsson.
hauled off at halftime, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Against Brentford.
He
So
won't
it's going
start.
to be definitely Bruno and McFred, and then it's going to be Rashford, Sancho, and Ronaldo, right?
I think he might play Alanga, Grizz.
No.
He works hard. No, he's a hard worker, though.
Alanga's on
Alanga.
his way out, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're bringing in. Don't do these ones, Abby, man. You know,
Honestly.
memories in it. Fuck's sake. See what I'm
Alanga.
saying? Hot takes.
All right,
innit?
Johnny,
I'm gonna
take
rip you,
it.
innit? I'm gonna rip you,
Rashford
innit?
off the left. Rashford off the left. Sancho on the right, and then you got
Martial's back. Galkaro.
He
Oh,
can't
he'll
play
get injured, he'll
Ronaldo.
get
Surely he
injured.
can't play
Martial's back.
Ronaldo. again.
Martial's back.
He'll get injured. He'll get injured.
Ronaldo, okay. See, I think Martial, Ronaldo Crassi. He's
Galkaro, Ronaldo, Keda.
of course, man. I'd be happy if Ronaldo starts. I want him to start.
Gomez will have
Even
a
though
good
he's
game
got a
for
goal
G.
in him, but I know, man. I'm saying all of this, mate. United, Muzi and these lot, I think they're going to come for me after saying all of this.
I think
you have to be
Rashford.
careful,
I
man.
think
You have to be
Rashford might
careful.
start. I think Rashford
Top-
might start.
Up top.
Yeah.
No,
I
Rashford
think-
podcast start, but he won't. through the
on
middle.
the what at the 9?
No.
No,
On the
on the
left.
Yeah, left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paka left. Paka
Yeah, left of him and Sancho, but then.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then.
Cholo.
But we don't know. I think Martial or Ronaldo.
It'll be Ronaldo. It'll be
But
Ronaldo.
the problem is Ronaldo, the way he's talking, he's off. So why risk him in this game then if Martial's back? They're only playing him because he's got no options at the moment.
He's going to tell us in 2 weeks. Oh, only bana.
Yeah, but he's only going to tell us when he's fucked off. He's not going to cuss the club and stay there. What, you get me what I'm saying? He's stuck there. The only reason he said that is because he knows he's off.
But I think he's just too much of a bigger personality. Ten Hag should have got rid. He should have
100%.
got rid.
100%.
Simple. But now he's a pillar of that sort of team on and off the pitch. And there's talk of Glazers saying, look, he needs to stay because of the sort of commercial side of things. Need to sell a few more shirts. But Cholo, we've done their team. Let's move on to our team, which matters. Hassan goes, what do you think Klopp will line up with? Does he go Elliot, Fabinho, Hendo? Personally, I'd start Keita, Hendo, Fabinho. Just some experience. So if he wants to look, I'll say, I just want to look at that team.
I would agree with Hassan.
For me, I'd go with Fabinho, Hendo. I don't mind. I want Keita on the left, and I want Elliot on the right because I thought Elliot had a good game, and we need to win with football. And when Elliot plays, we play better football, generally speaking. And he's a connection between, Bobby, and especially when we play with Nunez. Not so much with Bobby, because Bobby can do that job as well. Who would your three be, Chin? I'll go with
Look,
you.
I'd definitely have Elliot, especially at OT, especially with Bobby as well, because it's a big pitch, Asim, so we're going to need a bit more control in the midfield. So we're going to know, you're going to need somebody who's good enough to get on the ball, give us another 20, to take us to 20 yards further forward. So I think it's important that Elliot starts, because generally, with the few times that we have played United, not last couple of games, but generally in the past, it seems like the pitch is a big pitch, and we sometimes sort of struggled when Bobby's played. I would have liked, me personally, I want to see Elliot, Keita. I want to go Elliot, Keita, Fabinho. It ain't gonna happen. I just want to see. I want to say Elliot, Keita, Fabinho for me. I want us to go out there I want us to go at them. Honestly, I want us to go at them. But I get why people want to play.
Avi, who's your six?
I'm going with the double pivot, Asim. I'm going with the pivot.
Oh, he wants to play the 4-2-3-1.
No. I'm going to go with the three with Naby. I thought Naby was sensational last season at Old Trafford until Pogba put it to him. So I'm going to go with Naby. He's got a point to prove. God knows what's going to happen with his contractual situation with the club. But he's got a big point to prove now. So Naby, Fab, and Hendo, there's nothing much we can do. I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp plays Milner and Fab and Hendo. But yeah, for me, it's Keita, Hendo, and Fabinho. Right now, it's very hard to predict what Klopp's going to do with that midfield.
Mm-hmm. Personally, Grizz, I don't like Fab, Milner, and Hendo. I think we just don't have the technical ability in midfield, and we'll get pressed to fuck even against Man United. I like to control games, especially in big grounds. What do you think?
Milner was superb there last season, guys. Milner was
and to be fair to him, he's played well.
Absolutely superb, and so was
even Curtis Jones when he came on was pretty good.
Of course, but I think
we haven't got time for that. We haven't got time for that.
I think in the famous.
Chris, shall we have that debate? Emil Smith Rowe and Curtis Jones.
Both
of them are gone.
No, we're gonna do that on my show on our channel. Vadi, we're gonna have Vadi. We're gonna call it the debate. But no, I think in the famous words of Chimp, the team picks itself. I think it pretty much picks itself. He always used to say that once the team's announced, it picks itself.
Grizz, can I throw a spanner in the works here?
Grizz, give me your three.
Go on, throw a spanner first. He wants to throw a spanner, innit?
Could we see possibly Carvalho on the left,
No.
Diaz to the middle, Salah on the right? No? Okay.
No, that's your spanner.
Thanks for shutting it down so quick. Thanks.
I think it's going to be the back four that we know. The back four that we think. Sorry, I think it's going to be Fabinho, Keita, and Henderson. Keita 100% starting this game, and up front we've got no options but to start Salah, Bobby, and Diaz. And of course Elliot doesn't deserve to get dropped, because for me he's been the best player over the two games. He's been the best player, which is worrying and happy at the same time that he's coming to light. Like, do you remember the first four games of last season where he was the outstanding player? Dua or nothing happens to him this time, inshallah. Again, he started off like a house on fire. He's been the best player so far, in my opinion.
Irfan goes, Elliot has to start, can't throw away Naby. He's just come back from injury. Irfan, he wasn't injured, he was ill.
Oh yeah, he had an illness. It wasn't an injury, was it?
He was ill.
Irfan just
can you please keep your tactics to yourself, please?
Right. Just block Irfan too. Yeah,
please block him, please. Block him, so he can't speak on him.
No, yeah, leave him, man. Leave him, one of my own boys, man.
Oh, yeah, he's one of our boys. He has
a fair point, doesn't he? Grizz, he has a fair point, though.
So he's the next week we're going to say the same thing.
No.
How many weeks?
Naby, he only had 45 minutes this season.
How do we assess when to play him then? You're going to say this next week. Will he have more games next season? He's still going to say he's had 45 minutes only this season.
No,
he doesn't play this game.
But if let's say he plays and he has a choker.
Oh yeah, he does. That's the only reason he's not signing, because he wants to get out. Play him, and if you're not going to play him against Finn, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. But look, I want Naby to start. I had in my three, but it's a fair point. You have to. And how many times has Naby come after injury? Which game was that?
Okay, I'll give you that. Or Real Madrid.
away to Madrid, he was absolutely shocking after.
Yeah, but Asim, that was Klopp's decision to play him after 3 months out. No, but that was Klopp's decision to play him.
Naby on some Monday evening. It was my decision.
Naby's fit. Naby had an illness, not an injury, man. The last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's not Yasin. Come on,
Yeah, come on, that's not an
illness as
injury.
well.
You know, whether he's Bamar or is ill, he's not available.
He's absent.
No,
He's absent.
he's
Would you
absent.
sell him, guys? Would we sell him?
No.
Look, I think I think.
See,
I think
that's what I'm saying. See, look how split we are.
Well, who would sell him
the
though?
thing is-
What's the point of selling him? I don't understand what's the point of selling him right now.
Not
Okay,
now.
how many midfielders?
Okay, no, but Joe, let's sell him and get Sander Bergen, okay?
Oh yeah,
If I said
not
get
now.
Sander Berge, whatever he's called. Look, honestly, that's a question for another day.
I
right?
like Sander Berge.
We like
There
him.
you go.
We like
Another
him
show
at
for
Genk.
another
We
show
like
for
him at
another
Genk.
another show for nothing. I like him. That's another
Curtis
debate.
Jones, Sander Berge, and Diogo Jota technical ability is coming up soon.
No, Sander Berge is very Sander Berge is very good technically.
You're
Very
I
good
do not want to be
technically.
on that
man.
show.
You're a Liverpool football club. This and look, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the one. Okay, you know what?
No.
Another time because
Yeah.
maybe we should do it. Just say.
It's on a genie Bansia Sander Berge. I'm gonna just Bismillah Rahman Rahim. He's gonna be the genie. No genie.
Man,
Dada.
oh,
You know,
listen.
I
He's another. By the way, he's another injury prone. Oh, he's another injury prone guy.
That's why
Man.
you fit in like a
Always
glove.
injured.
That's why you fit in.
No, look. Yes or no, Grizz? Would you sell him this summer?
No, of course not. We can't. We're not in a position to
Can't
sell
be no
him right
players,
now.
man.
Asim,
I wouldn't sell him.
Keen.
No.
We're not in a position to sell him, but that's not the
There you
question.
go.
What about you,
Are
Avi?
we? How about in summer? What if we secure him on a deal just to protect his value? Do you get rid of him in the summer?
I don't know how we protect. There's no point of protecting his value, Grizz. If it's a stop-start career.
How much
like
would you
for the
get
last 4 or
for?
5 years.
How much would you get for Naby?
Or you're right. If we secure him on a 3-year deal, then we know that we can sell him for at least 25, maybe.
Or we can part exchange him with the Bellingham deal.
Or Bellingham part exchanges don't happen.
We
No.
give him to Brighton and we take Moises Caicedo.
No, man. Brighton won't want Naby, man.
Yeah, but look, Jello,
It's a decision. You're talking about Gomez getting rid of Naby's the worst for not being available when we need him.
But you know what? We were quick to judge Naby now, but last season, guys, he was available.
he was
Available. He was.
But club didn't trust him then.
Some games, it was weird because some games he did, and then some games he
The
didn't.
European Cup final was the final straw in my mind. Obviously,
There's your answer. There's your answer, Grizz.
in my mind, that was the final straw. When he played a 70% Thiago ahead of him in the final, then you know the guy's got no. I know you guys are going to say, but it's Thiago. We have to play him. I don't know what you guys think. I disagree, man.
Look, Naby is. The thing is, for last season, I know he was available. But look, there's so many inconsistencies, man. He just wasn't good. Look, it's just truth be told, he's been a flop.
But the thing is, there's actually no dislike towards the guy either.
We don't. Of course, because we know
all four of
we
us,
know his quality.
We would pray tomorrow to for him to stay fit and actually start showing quality on the regular.
Because we know his quality, Avi.
Yeah.
The whole everybody knows he's got the quality. We don't question that.
I'm with Grizz. I'd sign him up, protect his value, and if he produces seasons like last season, 20, 30 games, in total appearances.
Well, as if opposition clubs they're not Bayf Kufi. Our opposition clubs, they know he's injured. That's why we can't get rid of Ox.
No, but listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying.
To me, yeah.
He's saying, sign him up. If he plays 25, 30 games, we've got no reason to sell him then.
Exactly. And his versatility helps us. He can cover on the left. He can cover on the right. So why not?
I think he's absolutely on the right. I think he's absolutely.
He did well against Man City there.
That was games against
that Man City semi-final game. He was brilliant.
Oh, yeah, they played the reserve team.
Yeah, but Grizz,
I'm not having that.
in front of you, yeah, come on.
They weren't that bad.
Oh, they were, man. Fernandinho, come on, man. Fernandinho, I don't count, man. They had Fernandinho and Grealish in midfield.
Rodri was missing. Well, I think he plays on the right. He plays
Rodri. We have to have a Rodri.
Shall we have that Rodri discussion now, lads? Rodri, Toko now. Let's talk now, Rodri.
Best DM in the world.
Gene's trying to avoid the conversation.
Has he got himself on mute? I think he's got himself on mute. He's
Sorry,
probably
guys.
burping.
It's the wife.
No
Go on.
problem.
What have I missed quickly?
We're talking about Rodri,
Rodri, another debate for another show.
the best DM in
Best
world
DM
football
in
right
world
now.
football.
The best DM in world football.
Add that
right
on
now.
another show.
Fuck that. We're gonna do a poll on this, so I don't get a chance to. What's the word?
Vote.
Loot the poll.
Oh yeah, Grizz has got his own. He's got his own minions. Yeah. So when Grizz puts it up, he's got his own minions who vote for him.
That's
Junior
what it is.
Grizzlies. The
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're
The
not gonna do it.
Grizzlies, man.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm saying we're not gonna do it, so I can't corrupt it. No Nawaz Sharif business. We're gonna do a poll, like in the chat or something, inshallah.
Okay, so who's the, okay, you know what? I think when are we gonna do it? Not now.
No. We'll think about it.
Yeah.
Alright.
And we decided how it's sort of
Worded. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
The word is key.
Word it.
He'll put something on there. Just
There's not a debate. There's not a debate. Honestly, there's
I
not.
said we won the ESR debate, didn't we? By the way.
we won the ESR one.
Yeah, that's all right. We
What
got
would I
one.
say
We got-
about? What do you mean? Have you say about ESR? Recency. So what about
Recency bias,
Social
yeah,
media is just heat of the moment. People think. You know what I mean?
Grizz, just a question to you three. I'll toss it out there. If there was a midfielder realistically now, forget about the Bellinghams, but realistic a midfielder now that we could get. We've heard a few names in the last 48 hours, 72 hours. Who would it be? Grizz?
Sorry, what was the question? Are you breaking up?
Realistically, a midfielder in the last, like, if we had to get a midfielder in now, realistically, who would we want?
You know
who would
who
we
I
want
would
realistically?
You know who I would get? I don't like that word stopgap. I would get someone like Tielemans now, and I'd obviously go for Bellingham next summer as well. I think Tielemans. I think Tielemans is working
I
out.
don't think he's got the engine.
Engine.
I've always said that. Yeah, I don't think.
No,
I've
I
always
think
said that
he's
about
got the
Tielemans.
ability. I think he's got the technical ability and he's got the versatility as well.
Yeah,
and
go
don't
get his
judge him-
go get his
don't
partner.
judge him by last season's,
And did he?
Leicester.
Ndidi? Oh,
and
now,
Ndidi.
yeah.
I like him, DD man.
And Didi's like a fab.
Hold on,
And Didi's a
hold on.
6 for me.
Oh, sorry. So you are not. I mean, not when you were playing. Where did you say 8?
No, if you need to get
No,
a
anything,
if you get a
anyone.
midfielder across
Either
the
get
three,
an 8 or either get a 6. Like
That's just look. We've got 6 in it. Look 6 in terms of Hendo. We've got Fabinho. That's more than enough. If anyone in world football,
No, realistically.
Yeah, but
said.
really-
realistically, come on, yeah. Don't start giving us names like
Bellingham.
Mateus Nunes now.
Barella.
that's my man.
Barella, yeah. Well, look, is he
No, that's
realistic?
what Gino was going to say. I said that's what you.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard now.
It is.
I've told
It
you.
is.
I've told you my choice, but I've agreed that the Salzburg.
Who?
Suchich.
Look,
Yeah,
I'm not
Suchich.
gonna lie. I've not seen him a lot.
He's
And then
my
there's
guy.
there's a player that Avi likes, Jacob Ramsey as
Jacob
well.
Ramsey, yeah. I do think he's a good player.
Fahad
But
thinks-
I wouldn't be adverse to Lucas Suchich either. It's got a culture.
So you know, bring up this Fahad Arshad.
Yeah,
man.
look,
Puri Lati's on being on my case, man, saying, you know what I mean,
Keita,
Grizz, you're a
people are
fool,
putting up-
Grizz, you're a liar, unblock me, blah, 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 my picture like, yeah. You know, unblock me on Twitter. And blah,
Jacob
blah,
Ramsey. We can't get Ramsey. He's not flipping thingy.
blah.
man.
No, they want 65 million, you know.
And there you go.
What if we
Yeah.
gave them Curtis Jones?
There's
Eh?
a shout.
Shabashalai.
Can someone pronounce that name? Can
Shabashalai.
someone pronounce that name?
Troubles like
Easy.
Shabashalai. Shabashalai. But he hasn't done it at Leipzig yet. He's had to stop start as well. Injuries, red cards. No, yeah.
I'll tell you.
look,
I'll tell you. We'll take Avi. You know that Bayern Munich, the French midfielder.
Tolisso.
Not really. Yeah,
No.
Tolisso.
No.
No. There's the
What's
other
his
one.
name?
Again, you're right.
No, Avi's going to agree with me.
Musiala.
Forget it. No chance of anyone.
He's
Right?
flipping Musiala. More 500
Avi,
million.
Oh, look at this guy getting overexcited. Wait, get him off.
Avi,
Go on, Grizz.
Who's the midfielder?
how do you
You're
pronounce
right.
it?
What's the
Lima.
midfielder called, man?
Conrad
No,
Lima,
not
yeah.
Burnley. Lima.
Shout.
Lima.
That's a shout. That's a shout.
That's the one.
Lima.
Realistic as well,
Durability,
because last year,
durability isn't.
You
Yeah,
need, bro, that guy. Get him.
young James Milner, Nadroko.
What's happened to that French guy, man? That that young Leon guy.
Renato.
Begins with a C.
Kakare.
I thought you were gonna say.
Kakare.
I thought you were gonna say Hossam Aour.
Not,
Kakare, what's happened to him?
not for me. I
No,
know
we
he's
need to
not
get
loving-
Irfan.
Avi's gonna love him.
Hawa.
Who? Kakare. No,
Not for
again,
me.
he hasn't elevated himself.
Nah, not for me. You know, we need to.
Bruno Guimaraes would have been a great player.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
already.
done,
If
innit?
you see
Box to
signs
box,
of
scores
him,
goals, gets in good positions.
Yeah, Cholo, look, guys, let's stop playing football manager and the transfer market and this and that. We'll see when the window ends in about 10 days. Let's see who we get. I personally believe, I don't think we get anyone in now. Whether I'd like to be proven wrong, but I don't believe we'll get someone in. I'd like someone badly, badly. We need someone.
Just someone, you know what? Someone DM'd me, and it was a pretty fair shout. But Todd Cantwell this season, he started off
Oh,
well
for
for Norwich.
fuck's sake.
He would be
Look,
nice.
Please, you know, why do you want? Look, the way you made that face, I can tell you just coming up with a load of shit now because you
He's
know it's
delivering
Friday.
it.
It's not long to go. I know you did. You
He
just
was very much liked by our coaches.
yeah, 5 years ago.
Cantwell.
God, can't do well.
Do you really think?
Look at his straight face.
really
Look at his straight face. Proper straight face, making it out like, yeah, we want him. Kal le yaar tu.
Okay, before we move on to the sort of the rest of the Premier League and who's caught your eye.
I've only got an hour. I've given you 10 minutes of overtime already, man. Grizz is charging by the minute. Wait till he gives you an invoice.
No, I think he's working overtime now. He'll be all right. But before we get that, let's get your predictions in for United game, and then we'll touch on a bit of the rest of the Premier League. I'll go first. I think we're going to win 3-0, inshallah.
Fucking hell.
Inshallah.
I'm going to nick Grizz's words there and say, I'm going to be very fluid here, and I'm not going to give a prediction this week.
No, you can't do that, man.
You have to give a prediction. We're on about no prediction.
Fluid.
This will count.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with the 2-2.
Okay. Even we've got a special guest today. These will count on the prediction table.
Yeah,
So,
2-2.
do you want to stay there? I'm going to go for Salah 2. And I think
Diaz will have a great game on.
I think Diaz is going to get a goal. Thanks for that shout. 3-0. Salah 2 and Diaz. Give me your two scorers, Avi.
For United.
I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. 2-1 Liverpool.
I already changed Kari Chudiyas.
2-1.
I didn't realize he said 2-2.
No,
You
2-1
did?
Liverpool. 2-1 Liverpool.
I was going to go to town on him.
You have
2-1,
to
I
back
think.
your own team, Avi. You have to
2-1,
back your own team.
2-1, and I'm going to go Diaz definitely scores, and I'm gonna
ball
it's
now,
got
come
to be Mo. It's got to be Mo, isn't it? Salah.
Diaz and Moy, yeah.
2-1.
Gene?
2-0 Liverpool, Salah and Trent.
Ooh, good shout. That's another conversation where I think Trent needs to get more goals, especially if he's going to play in that position. He gets plenty of assists, but he gets plenty of opportunities to, get it on target. But he always seems to go, straight to the keeper over the bar. Even with Robbo, how many times does Robbo just put it over the bar when he's in the
Oh, yeah, are they fullbacks in it? They don't know to score already 10, 15 goals.
Come on, man. You can chip in, especially if you play in that position.
The amount of times they get into decent position. Robbo's flipping shooting abilities.
Oh, yeah, next show, innit? Next
Key,
show.
man.
Next show.
Yeah.
Next
Grizzly,
2-1. 2-1. 2-1
2-1.
to Liverpool, yeah. And like the brother Hassan says, Diaz and Firmino.
Ooh, Diaz and Bobby. Diaz.
Hassan, by the way, makes some great comments, man.
Yeah, big
Even
up
on-
Hassan, man. Big up
Even on
Hassan.
Grizz's channel and even on here. Great comments.
Big up. Okay, look, let's leave Liverpool to a side. Just want to touch on the rest of the Premier League. Arsenal,
Unlimited
Chelsea.
touch.
Huh?
I said, unlimited touch. Time, man.
You better top up Grizz's meter. He's going by the meter. You have to top up, bro.
Unlimited touch. Yeah, just
Unlimited
do it.
touch.
No. No more debates, no more Curtis Jones, and no more Diogo Jota, please.
Yeah, no, that's it now.
I want to talk a bit about that game. I watched it last Sunday. I thought it was a proper game. Proper. You actually officially thought, you know what, the Premier League is back, where you saw two great coaches go head to head, and even the sort of, let's put the quality of football in, particularly from Chelsea first half, and the speed of it, the sort of intensity, the bite, the passion. But there was two great coaches going head to head, and even what I found fascinating, Chin, two great coaches going head to head, and even the in-game management, in-game tweaks and adjustments to formations, it was cat and mouse, but it all played out to be a brilliant game.
No, it was a brilliant game. I see. When you have two managers at that sort of level go, in a way, toe to toe. I thought Chelsea were fantastic. I thought Chelsea got done, if I'm honest with you. They're looking at the two decisions that went against them. They should be really, really peed off with the actual ending of the
signing. Cucurella's already, yeah. What a player!
Look, his quality. He's
Yeah,
used to the
I
pen, but
No,
Yeah?
I thought he was brilliant.
I've gone early.
Cucurella.
No,
I thought he was
I'm
brilliant.
going to reserve judgment right now. A couple of games, TK. But generally speaking, what a game of football. Look, in a way, you got to give Conte credit, man, because I know they were lucky in the actual result, but it was a big performance from them. That's a game that they generally lose. So with the signings that he's made as well, with the side that he's got, that's a fantastic start to their season. A draw away to Chelsea, won the first game, was it 4-0 or 4-1? So that's a decent start to Conte in this first full season at Spurs. But what a game! You actually see the beauty of the game when these two type of managers, like you said, the in-game management, the little tweaks that they make. They set up the same, but then with the Koulibaly and slight tweak went to a 4, Koulibaly and Silva. But I'd like to see that. Let's see how good Chelsea are playing that sort of system in a 4 against the top sides, and we'll see how good they are. But all in all, man, it was a brilliant game of football.
Avi, what did you think of it? I thought, look, it was brilliant watching, the two coaches go at it. Even and how many times have we seen in transition, Conte side, especially hit Kane on the halfway line. Kane, produces a brilliant pass to Son. But Tuchel even brought Reece James in some sort of midfield role, not just to sort of counter them from breaking, sort of preventing the counter, but it also gave him a numerical advantage in midfield. I thought, look, it was brilliant. And Conte kept on reacting. And like I said, it was cat and mouse, and it was brilliant to see.
It wasn't, obviously the touchline fracas between the two, that will take the headlines, but it was a quality game of football. I thought Loftus-Cheek played really well.
Yes.
He looked actually fit. He got the 90 minutes under his belt, but he had quality. Kante, Jorginho, Kante is so unfortunate because in the last couple of years, he just keeps breaking down. I think there's question marks over Kai Havertz now. What is he? Is he a focal point at 9? Is he a 10? He can't really, there's not much you can do with him, and he's just not producing the numbers that he should be. I think last season he got 9 goals. This season, I didn't think he looked great. Sterling looks as if he's brilliant. The pace break from him. Cucurella, I'm telling you, I think he's going to be one of the finds. Well, not the finds, but I think he's going to be even forget the price tag. I think he's going to be a great signing for them. But even above Ben Chilwell too.
But Gene, Avi touched on that, is Havertz a focal point? What is he going to do? And we've seen as Abdul Wakil, that's the Wakil Saab, by the way, everyone, the Sufi Driz, on, Tuchel's way of playing this season is he's trying to, as a lot of these German coaches are trying to implement, is this 4-2-2-2 on the ball, which we've seen Havertz and Sterling up top. And I think, I don't like Sterling in that role, because I like him getting the ball on the halfway line, running at defenders and getting behind and sort of getting in those a lot of tap-ins where you're used to him seeing. But do you see Sterling sort of staying there, and do you see him sticking with that sort of formation on the ball?
Look, if you go by their first half performance, they were scintillating in that first half. Jorginho and Kante ran the show. They were unbelievable. I remember tweeting about it, saying that was a masterclass from Jorginho and Kante, especially in that midfield in the first half. Really, look, they did create out of all the chances. They're the ones who created most of the chances in the first half. They taught Spurs a lesson in football in the first half. But will he stick to that formation? Look, in the Premier, it's a bit difficult. I believed in a 4-2-2-2. It's a bit of a difficult system to actually play, especially against the top sides. But personally, I think he might stick, because me personally, I don't think you can win the title now playing a 3 at the back. That's just my personal opinion. I can't see a team that plays 3 at the back now in this era of Liverpool and City that are going to go and win a title. So for him to change to a 4-2-2-2 might be because he wants to probably play a bit more attacking.
Well, I think Grizz, yes, Gene says you can't win the title with 3 at the back, but I think it's fairly fluid when it comes to Chelsea, where he plays Koulibaly in that Rudiger role where he's very, very comfortable. He puts Reece, in midfield, we saw, just to get that numerical advantage in midfield. And sometimes it goes into a 3-4-1-2. It's very, very fluid at the back and at the front. And when you do see them in a 4-2-2, you need to have the fullbacks. And last season, I think they had too many injuries in that area, which prevented him to play some certain different styles. And where I think we got better at dealing with Chelsea. We played him the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. I thought the more times we played him, we dealt with that system better. But where do you see Chelsea and Tuchel going? Because I think Did you think, especially when he was sort of crying out for those signings, you thought they struggle? No.
I think the owner's doing a smashing job of revitalizing the energy and desire amongst the fan base and the players. No one expected him to come in like this heavy top. Do you know what I mean in terms of spending? So I think they've got the crowd, the whole good feel vibe factor around the club again. I think they're going to do all right. I know everyone had Spurs. Jorge had done third. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I think Chelsea, especially, they're going to get Fofana and Aubameyang as well. They're going to get Aubameyang and Fofana, and that's quite a healthy bloody squad there as well. If they top that off with Frankie De Jong as well, then it's all down to Tuchel's coaching ability and trying to see how quickly he can form them into a unit.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's true. That's true. Look, we normally spend around about 1 hour, 10 minutes, but it's been an absolute brilliant show today. I did want to touch. I did want to touch, and I think we have to spend about 5 minutes on it because I think Avi wanted to spend about talk about Haaland and his 8 touches against Bournemouth. What do you think, Avi? I think my sort of personal take on it. I think we saw two sides of Haaland and what we're going to see, where he might have 8 touches against Bournemouth, but he'll score a hat trick in the next game as well. And for me, he's a bit
He got an
similar.
assist with those 8 touches, though. He got 1 assist, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did. But in general play, I think when they come up against a low block, park the bus, call it what you like, I think you're going to see that. And there's no doubt he will bag some unbelievable goals today. But I think he will be more dangerous, a bit like Nunez for us, when KDB picks when West Ham are forced to losing 1-0, come out and forced to play a bit more, and where KDB produces a moment of magic and sort of finds him with a brilliant pass in behind. And I think that's where you're going to see the best of Haaland. When he comes up against a bus, you might see those days. But I think for Haaland, as everyone probably agree, he's been bought for the big day. They're not going to struggle. They never struggle to score goals. He's been brought where is a semi-final of the Champions League. That chance falls to him in the 90th minute, and you want Haaland to put it in goal. That's why they bought him. No?
Yeah. Look, his shots to goal ratio, even at Salzburg and Dortmund, it's phenomenal, right? And he's a better finisher than Darwin Nunez. There's no qualms about that. We know that. And those important moments, those moments where Pep apparently lacked a 9 last season. He's there to take those chances. Will he score abundance of goals? Yes, but I think we'll see him as an all-round player as well. He's good with he's good with the ball. He can travel with the ball as well. We saw it with Dortmund under Aaron Taser, when he had his spell as manager, and we saw it even under Marco Rose. This guy can create too. We forget that. We just accustom Haaland as a goal scorer, but the boy can play. He can do a Harry Kane role if he wanted to. He can drop play thread balls through, and he can travel with the ball as well. So he'll be very multifunctional, and I think that's what Pep wants. Pep wants movement on those front three, with the Mahrezes, the Grealishes, the Haalands. He'll want all three interchanging, and I think their silent assassin is Julian Alvarez. I just think he's a brilliant footballer.
Grizz, what do you think of Haaland and what you've seen of him at the moment?
Exactly how we most envisaged. He's total alien to him from playing in a Dortmund team. Was all about transition and counters. Coming to Man City is only about possession and death by 1,000 passes or cuts, however you want to compare it. So he's going to take time, but he's going to score goals while he's taking time, and that's the infuriating thing, the pissing off thing. He's going to like what you guys said, 8 touches, but he'll still score, still be effective, and he's got the best midfielder in world football behind him, feeding him. It's a match made in heaven, unfortunately.
Because that's what we're crying out for, isn't it, Gene? That midfielder to
We've got that now. Thiago to Nunez is the one, but we have to get them on the pitch.
But look, Avi, Grizz, I don't think that's a natural sort of connection. Yes, especially the way Thiago plays, he plays it from the left. And yes, you will get him picking out Nunez. But I think that natural connection or supply, it needs to come from the right.
Elliot then. Trent, then. Elliot. You've got the weapons, man. It's just a matter of playing, man. They need to just play, keep playing, and they will come. Inshallah,
Yeah.
it will come, man. It will just
I was
going to be
trying to- I was
frustrating.
trying to- I was trying to push you towards the midfield issue, but you're gonna hit me. You're gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Touch.
leave.
Yeah,
You're
touch.
gonna touch your yeah.
Touch.
Yara,
Yeah,
Avi's got a meeting in 10 minutes. Jaldi karo, Yara. I promised him an hour. America, they're still at work.
I thought we were going at 9 o'clock tonight.
He messaged me saying, is it at 9? I go, what are you on about? He goes, it's at 9. I go, bro, whatever meeting you got at 10, you better, well, your time, you better sort it out.
Let's wrap.
Nick Kelly khane paise, energy's gone.
Well, no. Thank you very much. Joking aside, Grizz, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you very much for coming on. Please, whoever's in the house, like, subscribe, smash a comment on everyone's channels, Blue Chip, Grizz Khan TV, and check out all the guys, what they're doing on their platforms.
Yeah, we promise you will be on Blue Chip next week.
Yeah. But yeah, please like, subscribe, and get following, man, because we've got plenty of good stuff coming your way. As the Reds head to Old Trafford, the pressure is on, but I'm sure the Reds will come out with flying colours. And you never know, we might see a masterclass from Mo. Take care and see you soon.
Take care, boys.